Yeah, so I think it's inevitable that we're going to become a planetary civilization. And then beyond that, Type 2, stellar, like the Federation of Planets. Star Trek is a Type 2 civilization. And then Type 3 would be like the Empire of Star Wars, would be a Type 3 civilization.
Ah, that's kicking ass.
Now, to switch gears, I have a question, too, because we have to deal a lot of times. We've interviewed a lot of these really annoying 9/11 conspiracy theorists. And there's a theory here about the towers fell. When you watch them fall, they never could have fallen at that. And I know there's a mathematical thing that explains why they fell at the rate they fell. What is that mathematical? Because I know it exists, but I'm too dumb to know what it is. But I have to just tell people.
Pull out a chalkboard out of his pocket and start writing it down. Formula for you, Jim?
There's something. It's called a certain type of theory which explains the rate that the building fell.
Well, first of all, the towers are more or less designed to do that, so it succeeded in that sense. Otherwise, the towers would have tipped over on its side, in which case you would have wiped out most of Manhattan, Lower East Side, Wall Street. So they were supposed to basically collapse like a pancake downward. Now, some people think that maybe explosives brought down the World Trade Center, but explosives are placed on the bottom of a building. The World Trade Center collapsed from the top, not the bottom, showing that explosives were not involved in the collapse of the World Trade Center. And then some people say, well, fire does not melt steel. Therefore, it must have been George W. Bush who brought down the World Trade Center. Well, of course, fire cannot melt steel. Fire weakens steel. And that's all you need.
Yeah, that's all it had to do.
That's all it had to do was weaken the steel to make the whole thing buckle one by one by one.
What was the, not to interrupt you, but what was the stuff? Because it looks like people go, look at the video, there's liquid coming out of the building. See, that's melted steel. What is that looks like something melted steel which couldn't happen?
Well, it's not melted steel. It's softened steel, but lots of debris came out, and there was all sorts of stuff inside the World Trade Center. It was a working metropolis with thousands of individuals. So as it went down, if you look at the videotapes, you can't really tell what was coming out because it's too small and the resolution of the tape is not very good. The point is, it went down according to the laws of physics, and it was more or less designed to do that.
What was the theory? Like they say, does it get faster as it's coming down?
Slightly faster, but not much faster. It's free fall. The building was basically in free fall because there was nothing preventing. In other words, this building is basically air. If you think about it, a building is basically air. Like, why can battleships float if battleships are made out of solid steel? And the answer is they're hollow. Same thing with the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center was basically hollow. So as it collapsed, it could collapse more or less at the rate of free fall.
Okay, because they say that there was that it shouldn't have collapsed as fast.
Yeah.
Is that the argument people make, that it shouldn't have collapsed?
Yeah, but it did. And it does. If you take a look at even buildings that are collapsed with dynamite, they collapse very fast because the supports collapse. Once the supports collapse, you're in free fall.
Is there a name for the mathematical explanation as to the rate? What is the name of
Well, it's basically free fall because each layer was getting heavier and heavier as it going down. The supports offered no resistance. And that, by definition, is free fall, something that Galileo studied hundreds of years ago.
Okay, I thought there was a name for the theory of how it... But okay, I guess that was...
So this pancaking was more or less designed into the World Trade Center so that it wouldn't topple over and destroy Wall Street.
All right, worked.
All right, good.
It worked.
It wasn't liquid steel flying out, because people say that, and I don't know how to respond to that.
No, it wasn't liquid steel coming out. There was no melted steel. Fire cannot melt steel, as people correctly point out. Fire weakens steel, and that's all you need.
Well, that fire, anyway. What about, ones that they use to melt steel in a steel mill?
That's hotter. They use coal, charcoal. Charcoal will go to very high temperatures, while ordinary paper cannot reach the melting point of steel.
Yeah.
Now, you say, you talk about eventually we're going to have, people want to just go, just disappear and appear somewhere else.
Teleporting,
right. Now, your theory was that we're still, 1,000 years away from that, or roughly?
We can teleport atoms now. We can teleport photons. A photon is a particle of light. So on Star Trek, when they say, shoot the photon torpedoes, a photon torpedo is a flashlight.
What dummies.
They really were. That's hilarious.
So we can teleport photons. We can teleport atoms now. Maybe a gene or a virus in the coming years. A human being is very difficult to teleport. That may take centuries.
Yeah, I would think.
Because you said that people
I would think. I concur.
people would have to die to be teleported and put back together.
You would see Captain Kirk dissolve and die, and then all of a sudden this other Captain Kirk comes saying that he's the real Captain Kirk. He has all the memories, mannerisms of Captain Kirk, and so you wonder about soul. If you die, and all of a sudden there's this carbon copy over there who has all your memories, where is your soul? Who are you if you just died?
That's did you see the movie The Prestige?
No.
Oh, okay. Because they actually had a machine that made an exact duplicate of yourself with the same memories and everything. And this magician was using it to teleport himself like across a stage. And meanwhile, the original him would drop down into the stage into a thing of water where he would then drown himself to keep doing this trick, but without having so many of him made every evening.
Teleportation.
Yeah, that would be some type of teleportation. Oh, it's insane.
It's a terrific movie.
I love that movie.
Michio Kaku.
Yeah,
Can I jump in?
I highly recommend it.
You were talking about death, and there have been studies that right when you die, your body loses a few grams of weight.
You're supposed to lose something like 20 grams. However, people have tried to duplicate that experiment at hospitals. Nobody has been able to duplicate that.
Oh, they haven't?
No.
But why you say you're supposed to lose 20 grams?
Because it became an urban legend. Somebody once did it and said that. There are a lot of urban legends out there that are very hard to verify.
And they're basically saying that 20 grams is your soul leaving your body, right?
Right. But at hospitals,
so
people do weigh people before and after death, and they see no difference. So it's not easy to verify that statement.
So when
probably evacuate too, you know.
Well, no, they actually, the experiment was they were weighing the bed or something, you know. So if you did, sorry, Doc, shit your pants, it's still in the bed.
It's on the bed, right?
Right.
Thank you for clearing that up, Opie.
Because the good doctor didn't know what evacuate meant.
Oh, my God.
It's amazing, like, how we try to explain things to him. You explain what evacuating means. You make what a circle would look like.
Paradox in my hand.
Do you think we're dumb, Doc? How dumb do you think we really are?
I think you guys are play acting. You guys are smart as a fox.
We're play acting, so we're coming across as stupid.
He's saying you guys couldn't be as stupid as you're pretending to be.
Exactly. Let's go back to high school. If this was a lunch table, would you sit with us?
I think twice. A smart person can impersonate a dumb person, but a dumb person cannot impersonate a smart person or another dumb person.
Okay. I had another question. I forgot it. Well, after he said that about it.
I have one.
Okay.
Since we were talking about Star Trek before,
Yes.
I would like to go back to that for just a minute.
Yes, my favorite series.
Obviously, warp speed is nowhere near attainable at this point in time.
Yeah.
But let's say some point in the future we could handle some kind of warp speed technology. Would a vessel similar to the Enterprise or a spaceship be able to even handle that kind of tremendous speed through the galaxy?
Yeah, in fact, we're going to answer that question for the Science Channel when we do this filming of Warp Drive.
Question, Dan.
Yeah, there was a physicist who watched Star Trek. The first time he watched it, he saw the thing zapping faster than light. So he said, well, he's a physicist. He's going to go back to Einstein's equation and find a solution that allows for Star Trek travel. And he found it. And here's how it works. Instead of going to the stars, you let the stars come to you. You compress the space in front of you and expand the space behind you, so you don't move at all. The stars come to you.
Like wormhole technology, pretty much?
This is not wormhole technology. Let's say you want to walk across a carpet. You're getting ahead of the game.
You're an idiot now, too.
Everyone knows that.
I'm glad you're stupid now, too.
No, wormholes are another way to do it. But this one is a la Star Trek now. What you do is, if you walk across the room to a table, you can walk across the room, or you can lasso the table, drag the table toward you, and then just hop across, because the carpet has been compressed. This is called the Alcubierre Drive, and we actually interviewed him for the Science Channel. And he gave us a workable blueprint for what a starship may look like.
Wow. Now, not that I want to disagree, but what if you're compressing the air and actually pulling something?
Space,
Yes, pulling, yes, space.
There's no air in space, Jim.
No, I know. It's a vacuum, Dan. What if there's two people? What if there's one table, and you and I are across the room, and we both want to do that at the same time? How do we both pull the table without ripping it apart?
Well, you'd have to fight. Yeah, I mean, if the two starships got too close, then you would have interaction effects. You may have a collision. So the starships would have to be separated a little bit. What you do is you create a tube just like, in Star Trek, where you go shooting down the tube by compressing the space in front of you, in front of the tube. That's how it works. Think of one of those, escalators at airports that drag you horizontally.
Yes.
Same thing there. What happens is the escalator collapses space in the forward direction. Behind you, more escalator metal comes out, and you don't move at all. You're just sitting there, and the escalator...
Relative to the escalator, you're not moving.
You're not moving.
But then relative to the actual airport, you are getting from point A to point B.
That's how it works. My golly, he's got it.
But